Hello everybody, my name is Rich and welcome to Greatest Rock and Metal. On this podcast, I'm going to be talking about all the greatest bands and the greatest albums and the greatest gigs that I have seen or heard. And I've listened to thousands of rock and metal albums over the years, been to hundreds of gigs, and all sorts of different types of rock and metal that I'm into. And today, I'm going to be starting with the first band that I ever saw live and talking a little bit about them. So, please, if you like this podcast, press the red button, subscribe to see future ones, and I hope you maybe learn a little bit about the band and go and check out some of their amazing material that they've produced over the years. And the first band that I'm going to be talking about is this one, Saxon. The first band I saw live. I was a kid, and it was way back, but we're going to come on to the concert a little bit later in this podcast. First, let's talk a little bit about Saxon, a British band formed in 1979, or their first album was released in 1979, self-titled album Saxon. And I didn't really know about them then, to be honest. I'd only just got into rock and metal in 1979. And my introduction to the band was with their next album, which was really the album that introduced Saxon to the masses. At first in the UK, because they were part of something that was called the New Wave of British Heavy Metal, which included bands like Saxon, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Venom, Angel Witch, an endless list of brilliant British hard rock and heavy metal bands. But Saxon was a band that instantly grabbed me. Why? Catchy songs. And that will be something that you'll hear me say throughout all of the podcasts. Doesn't matter how extreme the rock or the metal is, the songs have got to have that melody, have that catchiness to them that hook you in and keep you there for life, as Saxon have done with me. And they're still going strong today. As much as anyone can be going strong today, COVID world that we live in. They should have been celebrating over 40 years in the business. Their last album was Thunderbolt, and it was a Thunderbolt, a very good album. I would recommend that album. And they still kick it live. I saw a concert of theirs from Wacken. That is a 2019 concert that's been part of all these COVID specials, and check it out on YouTube, you'll be able to find it. Brilliant concert, brilliant set list. Very envious that I wasn't there. A set list that, like most of the Saxon set lists, mainly rely on those first few albums, but still have a great smattering of tracks from throughout their very long career. And something like, I think it's 22 studio albums over that career. That's an average of one every 2 years. Brilliant. But the one that we're going to be looking at today, this one, my introduction to the band, Wheels of Steel, featuring that brilliant album cover, the classic eagle. The eagle. One of the things that I love about metal bands is their ability to create amazing artwork, some of them. Iconic artwork. This Saxon logo, been the same throughout their career. Brilliant logo. And the eagle became an integral part, not just of their marketing, but also of their show. And we'll talk more about that later when I talk about the first show they went to. This is a relatively recent reissue on vinyl of Wheels of Steel. Sounds great. I would recommend this too. There's some old promotional shots there that were taken at the time, promotional adverts, etc. Lyrics, and then inside we have, wow, look at that, a great like black and grey marble effect with the mighty eagle in the middle of one of the labels. Brilliant. Okay, so let's look at the track listing of Wheels of Steel, because one thing you'll find with Saxon, and I was talking earlier about their set lists, they have 3 early iconic albums. I like to call them the Holy Trinity of Saxon. This one, Wheels of Steel, that was released in 1980, also released in 1980, Strong Arm of the Law, and then very soon after that came Denim and Leather album. Those 3 albums really define Saxon. And if we look at the track listing, the first track, a mainstay of their set list, Motorcycle Man, a track loved by the band Metallica, and in fact in 2009 in Paris, Biff turned up at a Metallica show and played, sang the track with them. Metallica, as we well know, and Lars especially, has long been an advocate of the new wave of British heavy metal bands. That's what got him in part into rock and metal, along with obviously his massive love of the band Deep Purple. So from Motorcycle Man side 1, we also have the brilliant track 747, Strangers in the Night, and it was that track that was one of the biggest introductions for the band to many people in the UK, as that was a big hit single in the UK. And also there was the title track that ends side 1, Wheels of Steel. She's got wheels, wheels of steel. You gotta love it, Wheels of Steel. Side 2 not as strong in the tracks. See the Light Shining, a more mellowy type of rock track, which played quite a bit live. But the ending track, Machine Gun. You could say this was one of the forerunners of thrash metal, the Machine Gun song. Very fast-paced and a real headbanger. So, now let's talk about the gig. As I said before, it was my first gig. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at rock t-shirts by the sea. There you have it then. Rock t-shirts by the sea. You saw being modelled there was my t-shirt from the gig. This one here. 1982 UK tour. The tour was titled The Eagle Has Landed, and it was partly to promote this, a superb live album, Saxon's The Eagle Has Landed Live. Faultless album apart from one thing. Why, oh why did it not include the track Denim and Leather? I don't understand. But other than that, a very, very good track listing on that. But we're not here to talk about that today. Wheels of Steel was our album focus. Now onto the gig. Here is my ticket. the very first concert ticket I ever had. Manchester Apollo, September 1982. The price of the ticket was £4, 4 English pounds. Those were the days, eh? Those were the days. And this is the program, the tour book from that tour. And you'll see a real iconic photo on the front of this tour book. This is Biff at the legendary Donington Park for the first ever Monsters of Rock show. And Saxon played the first ever Monsters of Rock show. And in the background there, behind the crowd, you see the famous Dunlop Bridge, which is actually no longer situated in Donington Park. And I believe the DJ or stroke TV personality Chris Evans actually bought that bridge and no doubt has it in his huge back garden somewhere. I believe that's true. You can look that up. And one of the things that was quite popular in the early 80s, modelled by Biff here, and I also had some, the black and white zebra striped trousers, also famously worn by Steve Harris of Iron Maiden, and I used to have some and I used to wear them. Luckily there are no photographs available of that. And inside the program we have the typical things, some shots of the band and some blurb, some promo ad there, and look at that great band shot there from back in the day. Remember, we're talking the early 1980s here, long time ago, 40 years ago. And also, let's look at this. This was the support band that day, a girl band that didn't last very long by the name of Cheetah, Australian band, and they were pretty good, I seem to remember. But the thing I remember most about this concert first was the noise of the crowd, the noise of the band. I'd never experienced something as loud in my life. Remember, this was my first ever concert. And then, not only that, when Saxon came on, people started to run to the front. So me and my friend Gary, who was with me at the time, we also ran down to the front as quick as we could, and we got very, very close. And the effect of Saxon coming on, the sound of the motorbike, because they started with Motorcycle Man, huge amounts of dry ice, which is something I'd never seen before in my life, covering the stage, the lights, the crowd atmosphere, it was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And the whole show, I was just like, and headbanging, of course. It was amazing. During the show, we had the appearance of the mighty eagle coming down from the sky, a lighting truss that had been made to look like an eagle, the blinding white lights. I remember it now, I can see it now if I close my eyes, blinding white lights from the eagle as it floated, flew, I should say, hovered, that's the word I was looking for, hovered above the band as they continued playing. An eagle that they still use today as part of their show, and I'm sure for the younger kids who are getting into Saxon today, still has the same effect as it had on me. Breathtaking when you see that eagle coming down as part of the show. So that was it, Saxon, a band I would mightily recommend. The first band I ever saw live, a concert forever etched in my memory. It was just brilliant, and they as I say, I've seen them many times since then. They're still a great live band, different lineup slightly, but still a great live band. I thoroughly recommend them, and I would also recommend, You not just check out Wheels of Steel, but check out those other albums I mentioned as well. Strong Arm of the Law, Denim and Leather, the Eagle Has Landed live album. You've got to check that one out. Make sure it's the original version. There's a new 40th anniversary one, which is a lot more expanded, and that's more recent shows. But go for the original 80s version. And talking about more recent albums, I would also highly recommend the new album Thunderbolt, and go back a little bit in time to their Lionheart album. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I'm going to be focusing on other bands and albums and gigs in the future. Please subscribe, press the red button, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thank you very much for watching, and always remember, we rock.